Hi loves, welcome back for another video, or welcome if you're new here. Today I'm doing a bit of a hybrid video. It's going to be my story behind why I started making YouTube videos, and then it's also going to be my tips for newer creators, small creators, people who are thinking about starting to make videos here on YouTube, just really anyone who needs some tips and tricks to kind of get started with and to work off of. Looking at my channel, you know, it's probably, you have to take a step back. You're like, why is this girl making this video? Because I definitely am still very much a small creator. But at the same time, I have been making videos on YouTube since 2010, which means I've been on the platform for over 8 years now. And that's a long time. I've seen a lot of changes on this platform. I've seen it go from a website where people uploaded for fun and no one made money to a like insane multi-million, probably billion-dollar industry. So I think having been present for all of that and also going to several like YouTube and online video focused conventions and just really being in the space for this long, I have a lot of knowledge and things that I want to share with you guys, and I really think that this is something that I should share more of, because a lot of people in my personal life and my professional life will come up to me and ask me all kinds of questions about YouTube, and since I've been a resource for them, I'd love to be a resource for you guys as well. If you're thinking about starting a channel, you already have one, you're kind of a newer creator, or you just need some direction. So that is what this video is all about. Without rambling on, I'm going to go ahead and just get into it. All right, so first of all, a little bit more about me and my YouTube channel. So I've just mentioned it in the beginning, but I have been making videos on this channel for 8 years now. I started back in September of 2010. I was a junior in high school and I had a really horrible quality camera. But I really had just enjoyed watching YouTube videos for probably about 3 or 4 years at that point, and I just was like, you know what, I kind of want to try this and like see what happens. And really the catalyst for me was that, as you can see, I have curly hair. Back then in 2010, there were some people that made curly hair content, but there weren't a lot of people that made curly hair content, and that was something that I was looking for because I was still trying different products and I really didn't know what I was doing with my hair. But you know, I had some trial and error, and I figured, well, these things work for me. Maybe I should share what I do for my hair with other people and, you know, kind of try to fill this gap for people that have curly hair and are looking for resources and like new products to try, ideas, ways to style, all of that stuff. So that was how my channel started, and it used to be literally just focused on hair for a lot of my first videos. And then I slowly started to branch out into typical like beauty guru of that day content, and that was like makeup tutorials and favorites videos and tag videos and all of that good stuff. And it was definitely a good introduction into the YouTube community because there were so many people making that kind of content at that time, and I started to really feel out the just process of uploading and kind of the style of video that I wanted to make. And I definitely, again, didn't know what I was doing, but I think it was a really good way to learn to just kind of go into it with no expectations, doing it for fun and just kind of rolling with the punches as they came. So that was how I got started here on this channel. It was a very just innocent, like random hobby sort of situation, and especially back when I started, it was really weird to make YouTube videos. Like, I probably was the only one in my school that did it. So it's definitely changed a lot since then, but I think the premise and kind of the core of it is still the same. I know that I've stayed on the platform for all this time because I really just love it so much. I also work in film and video professionally, and I went to school for film, and it's just always been something I've loved doing. That part of it was a no-brainer for me because I've always loved producing videos and like creating content and just putting my energy into things like that. But at the same time, the community here on YouTube is so unique and special, and I think that's really what's made me stay for so long. Even though I've been, you know, more consistent and less consistent over the years, on and off, my love for YouTube has always been consistent, and that's something that's never changed and I don't think ever will change. So that's really what's kept me here, I think. My main goal with my channel is to just kind of share my journey through life. I definitely don't think I'm anything more than the average person, but at the same time, I think that there's a lot of struggles and things that we all go through that we don't talk about enough. And so I really try to share that on my channel, try to share my advice when I can, and beauty products when I'm feeling it, because that goes back to my roots and how I started this channel. So those are kind of some of my main goals. And my goal for the rest of this video is to share some of my tips and tricks with you guys and things that I've learned along the way. So hopefully you can have a smoother start into YouTube, or, you know, if you've already started, just kind of smooth things out and not have to learn from all of the mistakes that I've learned from. My first and maybe most important tip for you guys, if you are thinking about starting a channel and you haven't done it yet, is to just do it. Just start. And I know a lot of people say this in these types of videos. I remember starting my channel and how nerve-wracking it was to upload my first video, but it has been something that I've loved so much. It has been one of the best decisions that I've ever made in my life. And, you know, even my career has kind of been shaped by being on YouTube, because now I work in digital media. So it's been such an incredible choice that I've made, and if I hadn't made that first leap and made those awful videos to start with, I wouldn't be here today. And so I think it's more important that you start and you just kind of get the ball rolling, and that way you can learn by doing. And some of your videos are probably gonna suck. You're gonna feel awkward talking to a camera at first. It is kind of weird, but then you get used to it and you're fine. And it just is so important to just kind of push yourself and go out of your comfort zone, and that's how you're going to get started. Because otherwise, if you kind of let yourself get into that almost like perfection paralysis, you'll never start. You'll always be thinking about, oh, what if I started that channel? Like, what could I be doing by now? Would I have awesome people following me and have like an awesome community? And you probably will, but you have to take that first leap and start, or you'll never get there. Another tip that is helpful for the beginning when you're first starting out making videos is to talk to your camera like you're talking to a friend, which I know sounds weird, and obviously your camera can't talk back like your friend can, but at the same time, if you think of it that way, you're going to be that much more comfortable, and you're probably going to be more yourself, because you're thinking about, say you were talking to your best friend about this product or this game or whatever it is that you want to make videos about. So it definitely kind of makes it a little more authentic and a little less intimidating, I think. Another thing that I think is important is you have to get comfortable with the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Because when you're starting a YouTube channel, like, this is a fresh start, this is a new thing, and you can do as much research as you want, but you're still going to stumble here and there, and you're just going to have to learn through the process. So I think it's a really important thing just as a creative person in general. Like, you're probably never going to make that perfect piece of work. There's always going to be something that you think you could improve or change. But, you know, getting comfortable in that gap between where you are and where you want to be is really important, and it will make you a better artist and a better creator and a stronger YouTuber. Your next step, once you get comfortable with the basics of just making videos, you know, filming them, editing them, uploading them, you're getting comfortable posting to YouTube and kind of figuring out the platform itself, that is the point where you want to start making small incremental improvements. And that sounds very like businessy, but I think it's important to take things in baby steps and not get too ambitious, because if you put too much pressure on yourself at once, you're probably going to eventually fold under that pressure, and then you're going to feel like you failed when really it's just you putting all this pressure on yourself. Does that make sense? I hope so. Some things to work on once you're comfortable with the basics would definitely be your marketing and SEO on YouTube. And if that sounds like a foreign language, that's okay. I didn't know about SEO until a few years ago, but it's definitely changed my approach to my channel, the types of video ideas that I go like and actually make, and all kinds of things. So for SEO, I recommend vidIQ. It's a free tool that you can download, and I think it will work on any web browser. I use it on Google Chrome personally, but it helps you to optimize your tags and think about how searchable your titles are, all of that good stuff. So it's definitely a helpful tool to kind of start to bring your content on YouTube to the next level and make it that much more searchable, and hopefully get it in front of that much more people. Another thing for marketing and branding that is helpful is using a graphic tool. Now, if you're comfortable with like Photoshop or something and you have access to that, that's fantastic. That's what I use for my thumbnails and banner and all of that. But you don't necessarily have to have something as fancy and expensive as Photoshop. You can use something simple and free like PicMonkey, which a lot of YouTubers use. I also really love Canva and recommend using Canva. They have a lot of really awesome templates. It's super user-friendly, and you can make designs that look like your skill set is much higher than it actually is. So I definitely recommend that for you guys. Another tip that will be so helpful for you and save so much time is to make templates for absolutely everything that you can. This might be the way that you edit your videos. If you do it the same way every time, you're gonna slowly get faster at editing, and that depends on the kind of videos you're making. Like maybe each one needs to be different, and then, you know, forget that I even said that. But still, there are things that you can make templates for, whether it's the style of your thumbnails. And if you have a template saved, you can just pop in the image that you want on your thumbnail, change the text and any like other things that you're adding to it, and then boom, done. And for uploading videos, you can save a template to YouTube with like, say, your about me and your social media links and anything else that you want in your description every single time you upload. And you can also save tags that way. So I do both of those things, and then when I upload a video, it's already kind of pre-populated with a lot of the stuff that normally I would have typed over and over or copied and pasted every time that I uploaded a video. So that definitely saves you some time. Now let's talk equipment, which is one of the biggest, I think, hurdles that a lot of people that want to start out on YouTube need to get over. It's great if you already have access to a DSLR or a decent point and shoot camera that can shoot video, but you do not need fancy equipment to get started on YouTube. Honestly, today's smartphones, like my iPhone, I use to vlog, and it has really good quality. It's so much easier to use because I basically just set it up and that's it. Whereas when I film with my DSLR, I have to set up my mic, I have to set up my light, I have to get, you know, the whole thing going. And it's great to film at this level of quality once you're there, but just to start out, you absolutely do not have to buy all that equipment. I think it's more important that you get started and you kind of start realizing where your comfort zone is, how you like to edit, and all of that, and then slowly improve your equipment as you can afford to. There's no reason to go and buy all this expensive equipment to start. It's so much better to just start with what you have. Honestly, natural lighting is such a great way to film videos. There's nothing like natural lighting. I think natural lighting is much more representative of just everything, and it's a beautiful way to light things if you can. Just filming in front of a window, honestly, is one of the best setups that you can have, and that's free. And then when it comes to audio, of course, it's great to have a mic and a separate thing to either plug into your camera or record separately. But again, when you're starting out, you don't need to invest in anything fancy. So I think it's just important to be filming in a quiet space, even if that's just your bedroom, you know, you close the door and that's how you film for a while. I think that's a good way to start. Definitely just overall, don't get too ambitious with your equipment right away. You don't need it, and it's okay to start with the basics and work your way up. This next tip is super important, and it is to not be discouraged by not having instant growth or viral content. I think a lot of people look at the like really big YouTubers today on the platform and they're like, wow, I want to do that. I want to be famous and have tons of followers. And that may not be why you're getting into this, but I do think that a lot of people that don't make videos don't understand how hard it is to grow on this platform, especially now. There is an obscene amount of hours of content uploaded to YouTube, probably every second, if not every minute. Maybe I'll look up a statistic and then I'll pop it here in like a title for you guys, but it is insane how much content is on YouTube, and it definitely is a process to kind of get your stuff out there, get other people to see it. So if you're just going into YouTube to boom, have a bunch of followers, you're probably starting for the wrong reasons, and you're probably gonna end up getting discouraged and just stopping in a few months. I do think you have to be in YouTube for the right reasons, but you also have to be patient because growth takes time. It's just not a thing that's instant. Like, no one that's doing really well on YouTube today started like yesterday. Like, even the ones that have done really well, they either worked really, really hard, they got lucky with one viral video and already had a bunch of good content up. So when that video went viral, people went to their channel and were like, wow, I love all of their stuff. I'm gonna subscribe and stick around. So anyway, without kind of losing my train of thought, it's just important to make sure that you're not letting yourself get too sucked into the numbers. It's very easy to do that, but the numbers aren't everything, and they don't define you and your channel and your worth or any of that. So it's definitely just important to take a step back and not expect your channel to grow magically overnight. It takes time, it takes a lot of work, but it is so worth it if you stick it out and you're patient and you're consistent and you just go with it. My next tip is another important one, and it is to not be afraid to reach out to other creators. Now, please take this with a grain of salt. It's great to reach out to people. It's not great to reach out and just ask for a shout out and expect them to just like blast you on their channel or their Twitter or their Instagram or whatever. Like, asking for shout outs, asking for like sub for sub, not cool in my personal opinion. There are some people that like to do things that way, and it is a way to grow kind of, but I feel like it's a very artificial way to grow, and it's just not a good look, honestly. But if you're reaching out to people for genuine good reasons, like, hey, I love the way that you did this video, like, how did you edit that? Or, you know, I love your content, I'd love to hear more about your inspiration behind it, like something that is more genuine and not so like surface level, please just subscribe to my channel because I want to grow it, is just a great way to go about it. And most people are pretty receptive to that kind of communication and lifting each other up, supporting each other. This community is incredible, and if you put yourself out there in a genuine way and you're showing up for people that way, a lot of them will be very likely to reciprocate. I'm not saying that if you message like Shane Dawson, he's gonna be like, yeah, I'd love to help you with your channel, but keeping in mind, it's definitely easier to reach out to people at a similar audience size to you, especially if you're smaller, because they're also smaller, and so they're not getting tons of messages and emails and all of that every single minute of every single day. So it's much easier to reach out to them. Another important thing with this is to be able to exchange value. So hopefully if you're looking to collaborate or something like that, you're offering some kind of exchange of value. So it's not just like, hey, how can you help me, but also how can I help you? That's a much more kind of healthy relationship. It's how those things actually last. And another great reason to reach out to other creators is a lot of times you'll end up having them as a friend. And when you make YouTube videos, you cannot have enough YouTube friends, because these are the people that truly get you. They understand why you want to, you know, sit and talk to a camera alone for like an hour and then go edit for like multiple hours and post these videos, and I don't know, they just understand on a different level than your friends or family in real life are ever going to. And so it's really great to have friends that get it, friends that you can bounce ideas off of and ask, hey, does this thumbnail look okay? Should I change anything? I've found personally that Facebook has been an incredible networking tool for me, and I've met a lot of really awesome creators through different groups that I'm involved in. So I definitely recommend checking that out, whether you search like the type of content that you make, or maybe small creators or something like that. I don't know, like LA YouTubers or something. Like, I'm sure groups like that exist for a lot of different areas, especially if you're in a more metropolitan area. So definitely look into that and see if you can find other people. Finding people in your area would be even better, because you could potentially meet them in person, which would be really fun. You could collab, help each other shoot stuff. You get the idea. My last tip is one that I just want to share with my whole heart, because I feel like it's just so vital and will just invigorate you and inspire you so much. You need to go to events. My personal like big recommendation would be something like Playlist Live or VidCon, because it's such a heavily attended event, and you will definitely meet people from all different perspectives that are passionate about this wonderful platform that we post to. I definitely think it's a great way to meet people, it's a great way to learn, it's a great way to just be in person in the environment that we spend so much time in here on the internet. I could not say enough good things about going to something like Playlist Live or VidCon. It can be expensive, especially if you don't already live in the area where one of these events happens, but I definitely think it's a good investment and something that's worth saving up for. If you make some YouTube friends, you could potentially meet them there, which is always really exciting to meet people in person and get to, you know, collaborate on stuff with them and talk to them and hang out with them. And then also going to panels and things like that is a great way to hear from creators who really know their stuff. And I have gone to like the same kind of idea of a panel multiple times in different years or different events, because I always learn something new and I always hear from like a different person who has a different perspective. And I think that's part of why I'm so confident with YouTube, and I really feel like I understand just like everything around it because I've heard it from so many different people, and I'm always open to talking about it. Also, don't be afraid to go to a convention or even a smaller networking like online video kind of event alone. A lot of people do that, and it's a great way to make new friends who also love doing the same thing. So definitely just go, have an open mind, and you will be surprised at the amount of people that you'll meet and come in contact with, and the amount of fun that you will have. Like, I never want those weekends to end when I go to a convention. It's so much fun and so special. All right, those were all of my tips for starting out and kind of being in the beginner stage of having a YouTube channel. I really hope that you guys found this video helpful and maybe liked hearing a little bit more about my personal YouTube story as well. If you did enjoy this video and you are taking away some of these tips, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, please subscribe down below. I would love for you to stick around and join the Curly Hair Love fam. If you have any questions or tips to add, or anything that you want to share about your channel, if you have one or the one you're thinking about making, please leave a comment down below. I would love to chat with you guys about anything YouTube related. This is basically my biggest passion in life, so I'm here for you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you so much, and I will see you in my video next week. Bye.
Turn that shit up.